there's a very good chance you've either used DoorDash or perhaps you've been with Uber. These new companies within the last 10 years now have a new fee. For example, if you get food delivered in a place like Los Angeles, they're increasing the cost by 99 cents. In San Francisco, it's an additional $2. And Uber is passing on some of its charges now to consumers. And this is all in the wake of the attempt to stop what would have been these fees being paid by the companies and in classifying the drivers as employees. The person who can explain this much better than me is Nicole Moore. She is the Lyft driver and labor organizer with Rideshare Drivers United. And I hope I got this correct, because this is the Proposition 22 initiative that failed, right? And that would have classified the people who drive those vehicles as employees, and then we wouldn't have had to pay this cost. Is that accurate?
Not at all. It's exactly the opposite. And that is the success of a $200 million campaign by Lyft, Uber, and DoorDash to let Californians think that by voting yes on 22, they were actually helping drivers. As a matter of fact, by voting yes on 22, they actually undid rights for app-based drivers and delivery workers like myself. So this is absolutely what happened was that the state of California was about to come down on Lyft, Uber, and DoorDash around the issue of labor rights, because none of them were following the law. None of us are making minimum wage. None of us are have rights like family leave, medical benefits. None of that stuff is something that drivers and delivery workers get right now. The Attorney General is about to enforce that with an injunction on the companies, and they, put this initiative on the ballot that basically exempts them from basic labor law. So what they've put in place is some, they've really sold it as this great, bunch of new rights that drivers have, but it's not adequate. It's not even minimum wage.
So, Nicole, what do you want your driver for Lyft? What would you want Lyft to offer? What are the drivers specifically looking for at this point?
Well, employee rights are really non-negotiable right now in this country. If we want to raise, basic people who do basic work to a level where we can afford to put food on the table, keep a roof over our heads, that's what the idea of basic labor rights are, right? So right now, what the companies have been doing is shirking basic labor law across the country. It sort of came to a showdown in California because the legislators said this is not right and passed AB 5, which subjects companies like DoorDash and Uber to a test called the ABC test that shows that we as drivers are definitely employees, and we are supposed to get this set of basic labor standards such as minimum wage, unemployment, disability, those kinds of things that are basic safety nets in our society to make sure that, when your job changes, Nicole, when things happen to you, that you don't fall off the edge of the earth into, extreme poverty.
Nicole, how much, just out of curiosity, does the average Uber, Lyft, or DoorDash driver make in a year? Do you know the hourly scale, what it works out to? Is it $7, $8 an hour? Is it $15 an hour?
I mean, that's a really good question. There have been several studies done in California, and drivers are making $9 or less. Since the pandemic, it's been even worse because there's far less demand for the rides. Plus, a lot of people have lost jobs, so they're coming into the work. And so there's more drivers trying to get the same fewer rides. I've had days, you might bring home $20 an hour, but after your expenses, which is not just gas, it's maintenance, it's a whole bunch of things. You're making $11 or $12 an hour, but honestly, drivers are making a lot worse than that right now. So no, drivers in in our state are not making minimum wage. And when we filed wage claims with the Labor Commission of California, that's indeed what we found, that drivers were owned, even high earning drivers that really know the structure of the business and how to, get the good rides. They were coming back owed hundreds of thousands of dollars just based on minimum wage, overtime, and expense reimbursement. It's a tragedy.
Yes,
what's
we
going
hear it.
on here.
Yeah. Nicole Moore is a Lyft driver and labor organizer with Rideshare Drivers United. We appreciate your being here at Yahoo Finance Live.